Maybe let it run for a little while, Carolyn, a few more minutes.
Yeah, sounds for
Oh boy. Uh, well, welcome everybody. Um, Sorry, those pictures really moved me. And I'm Ed Herzog. I'm president of the Hearing Voices Bay Area Hearing Voices Network, and we're here to honor and remember our beloved friend and colleague Heather Riemer. I just want to say she was one of the founders of our network, and she was very much beloved by me and our friends on our board who are here today, as well as a few members of the groups that she led, and also from peers where she worked for many, many years and helped lead voice hearers and others on their path to recovery. And we've asked our friend and colleague Carolyn Maisel Carlton to lead us in this memorial today, to allow us just to have our feelings and our grief. And we're recording this, so if you don't want to be in the recording, you can shut off the video or put a different name on the screen if you like. But to introduce Carolyn, she's someone who I've worked closely with over the years to help us build the Hearing Voices Network across the United States. She's a voice hearer who has known deep grief, and she's been honored to hold space for grieving people over the years in both the Hearing Voices Network community and in the Jewish spiritual community. So I'll turn this over to Caroline. Thank you, Caroline.
Thank you so much, Ed, and
At noon.
I'm so grateful to be here, to be able to hold some space with all who are mourning Heather at this time. Heather was a mother, a sister, a daughter, a friend. She was a lover of animals. I think we have Roxy, the dog, is here in Michelle's Zoom box. And I'm also here to honor Heather as an experiencer of voices and visions, who, like myself, like others of us here, was trying to create a better world for those of us who have these experiences. We have lost a light of someone who, really sought to brighten our world. But I know Heather's kindness is going to continue to ripple forward and touch the lives of people that potentially we have never even met. So in terms of like creating a space, we're going to hold some of those same profound HVN values that Heather devoted her life to spreading. As a facilitator, as a board member, Heather made space for many emotions, many experiences, many realities. And right now, those who are grieving Heather are also, I'm sure, experiencing a huge range of emotions, experiences, grief, sadness, fear, anger, and questions. I know sometimes when I have had like a deep traumatic loss, I'm left with all these questions which have no answers a lot of the time, and yet they're a part of my process, like sitting with those unanswered questions. So what we're going to do is really just make space for sharing whatever is coming up for people. People want to share memories of Heather. If people want to share their emotions, what they're experiencing, we're going to keep this fairly unstructured so we can create the space for what people need right now, given this loss. At the end of our sharing, we have a beautiful poem that we'll put up that was a favorite of Heather's, and Ed is going to read that out loud for us. But at this time, I really just want to open it up. So if you would like to share a memory, a feeling, what's on your mind or heart right now. In terms of time, we want, if you get overwhelmed and you need to leave, like, please take care of yourself. We were thinking we would not go over 90 minutes, similar to a lot of those HVN spaces that Heather held. But yeah, it's really, we're going to create a container probably around 90 minutes. But if you need to go, please feel free to take care of yourself. And so for people that would like to share a memory or just what you're experiencing right now, it's fine if you want to wave at me or use the Zoom hand raise feature. I can see everyone that has their camera on just fine. So I'll just, so that we can all be listening to one another, I'll keep track of like the hands and who wants to share. So, yeah, so if anyone wants to begin, please feel free to Petra, go ahead.
You're muted, Petra.
I'm totally a virgin with these Zoom meetings with AA too. So anyway, hi, I'm Petra, and I'm an alcoholic. No, but I am. But anyway, yeah, I'm Heather's best friend, and I'm wanting to speak first because I have to go in an hour to deal with something. But we've known each other for 13 years. We talked on the phone 3 to 5 times a day. She was my best friend, sister. And she was like a mom to me too. I remember we met in the Hearst house, and I was dealing with a lot when I first got sober, and I got sober many, many times. But my mom had committed suicide when I was very young, and I was having trauma feelings for it. And I used to run to her room, and she would just like hug me. And it was, I don't understand why this happened. It's been one of the most painful things in my whole life. And I'm just so sorry that she had to go that way. I haven't been sleeping right. I had to take Ambien. I'm really trying to hold it together. I'm a dog walker and dog trainer. I have a session today. I've walked all my dogs throughout this whole thing because Heather would have wanted me to. And I talk to her like she's with me all the time because her spirit is with me. But I miss her so much. I just miss her so much. And I hate the way she died. It's just so horrible. So I want to try to get in touch with like a spiritual person to try to see if her spirit's okay. Anyway, I just loved her. She was such a beautiful soul. I helped her pick out her puppy. I helped train her puppy. Her puppy was impossible, by the way. It had reactivity issues. It went after dogs and went after people, but not seriously, but it was a challenge, like her daughter. And I loved her daughter. And I don't know why she did it. And I feel bad for her daughter in there. I'm just so torn. And I'm mad at her psychosis. And I don't know if she forgot. She used to go on rages on Heather. I know all about the rages. I told Heather something bad is going to happen. Don't let her in. I told her over and over again, don't let her in the house. And I knew all about the abuse. And I know I couldn't have prevented it. I know I couldn't have. It wasn't my fault, but oh God, I hate that it happened. I just love her so much. And I just wish she could come back. It's like my mom. I wish my mom could come back, but Heather can't come back. But she was a wonderful person. She had such a caring heart, but she was stubborn. She was ditzy. She was smart, but she lost her keys all the time. Every minute she was losing her keys or her wallet. And she had so many health issues. She was in so much pain. She had a lot of issues with her body. And that's one thing that I think she's finally not suffering anymore, because she would wake up crying in pain, and she was on pain meds. And she was just in so much pain. She had a really hard life, but she helped people with her hard life. But God, she was so beautiful and just such a kind person. She stayed with me overnight with dog sits. I mean, 13 years is a long effing time. I just miss her. I have an altar. Can I show you guys the altar? This is my altar for her. Can you guys see the altar? This is her altar. I have one in the kitchen, and I light the candles like 4 or 5 times a day. And I have the gummy bears that I found in my car. And then I have in my bedroom, excuse it, it's messy, but I have another altar. Oh, my dog's in here. She might bark. Well, let me turn on the light. This is my other altar to her. And I have to get new flowers. So
Beautiful.
yeah, but I miss her so much. It's so hard. I've, cried for like hours straight. And my ex-partner, I live with him. It's complicated, but anyway, that's another subject. But he doesn't know what to do, but I just have to let it out. But Heather was just, I have so many memories of her, of us together laughing, shopping, laughing, going through, I was like kind of her therapist, actually. I really bugged her to get a therapist, because I felt like I was always telling her what to, how to help with Gabby and how to do this. Zena, that is not appropriate. Come here. Don't do that. Anyway, but I just want to say that it's just a very, 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 very sad and tragic situation, and I don't understand it. I can't wrap my head around it. It's going to be something that I can't ever understand in my whole life. And we were planning on growing old together, sitting on the rocker, and she's gone, and there's an empty part of my heart. But I talked to her like she's there, and she is with me in my heart, and I just talked to her like she's here with me, and she talks back. I know that seems really weird, but I'm really psychic. I can feel things coming. I knew something bad was going to happen. I kept telling her, I have a bad feeling, and I hate that I knew something bad was going to happen. But anyway, I'm going to let someone else share now. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Petra. Thank you so much for sharing your heart with us and those memories of Heather. And also, it's really powerful to hear that the ways that you've been connecting with her through your altars and with her answering you. Thank you so much.
And Petra, the training you did with Roxy is amazing. She's a really good girl.
Oh, you own Roxy. Right on.
Yeah.
Hi, Rox. Oh. Zena, come. This is her best friend. Zena. Yeah, that's her best friend.
There's Zena.
There's Zena.
Zena. Oh, it's green.
Oh,
Is that Zena?
I'll send you some pictures. If you want my phone number, I'll put it in the chat. I'll send you some pictures of her as a puppy. Yeah, I have tons of pictures of her as a puppy. They're so cute.
Yeah, she's buddies with my kitty cat now.
Yeah, she gets along with cats because Heather had 2 cats. So yeah, And it took them a while to trap them. They were very shy cats. So it took them a while to get them, but
Yeah, I was just glad that I had called the police because they didn't know that she had cats. Or yeah, they didn't know she
yeah.
had cats. And so
Yeah, I was told that Roxy, the new owner of Roxy wouldn't be told anything about her history, but I'm glad they did.
yeah, they didn't have a choice. I actually called the police and I was police in the military.
Uh-huh.
So I followed up on everything and made sure that I was able to get her.
Oh, good. I'm so happy. Yeah. Yeah, but she does get a little reactive with kids. Watch out with the kid thing.
I know that they did tell me that.
Yeah.
It's so amazing that when we gather on Zoom, I love that the dogs and the cats can like gather with us and like be a part of it.
My cat loves Zoom
Amazing.
too, and she'll come up here probably later on, but yeah, they just love Zoom.
Yeah, I picked
Oh,
out
that's
Roxy
great
with
to
her,
hear.
and I picked out her cats. So yeah, text me and I'll send you pictures of her as a puppy.
Okay.
Mwah. I just put it in the chat.
Okay. I wanted to read a poem from somebody named Andre. And Andre would show up at our meetings first thing. So, and he had to work today and asked me to read this, which I thought was really cool because he said he didn't really know what to do. And I said, well, why don't you write? Because he writes songs. So he wrote a poem and it says that gone too soon, somebody facing the moon, your love and compassion, support, and your laughter. You are bright and full of fashion. Life is not the same without you, so who's to blame? I think about your understanding, your spirit so demanding, forever gone but not forgotten. Every triggered a movement with your work, sad so soon that might sorry, so gone with your work, so sad so soon, the night is dark, shines the moon. Me, you was a loved one, someone in power and every hour. My prayers and wishes with you in a better place. Every page will turn. The water puts out the burn. As a group, we learn to wrote this for you, and I hope it sticks like glue. March like troop for your everlasting and the loot. It was together so beautiful and so clever. We faced the weather, a rainy day. Miss Heather, I was off, but never soft like a feather, missing you forever.
Mm.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Thank you so much for reading that, Michelle. It's really powerful to hear the voice of someone who was in one of Heather's groups, even if they couldn't be here today with us. Thank you for doing that.
He's going to be famous someday, so
Yeah.
he likes to write rap songs.
And it looks like in the chat we have a request if he's willing to share the words that he wrote about Heather. It looks like there's people that would love to have a copy.
Okay, I can see if I can post it in the chat. It's actually out of an email, so I could probably put it on a Word, and I'll figure out how to do that.
Awesome. Thank you, Michelle. And yeah, as we remember, yeah, go ahead, Cindy.
Hi, so I have been on the HVM board for Bay Area board for a little while and did some of the facilitator like co-reflection groups and got to know Heather that way and found her to be really open and thoughtful. Like not like really open to hearing other perspectives and not forcing a particular way agenda or just really from that wonderful place of curiosity, respectful curiosity, and willing to examine things, whether they were different or challenged her own views. She was still very open to them. And it just feels really important for me to say this in this gathering. I say it in a lot of gatherings, but it's not uncommon to hear from or see or vividly dream of a lost loved one. That I think is so awesome that Petra could share. I talked to her. I talked to her like she's here, and I feel like I hear her too. And so I really want to normalize that as much as possible. And it reminds me of something, Caroline. I don't know if you want to share that thing that an actual helpful thing somebody in a clinical role said to you.
Are you thinking of the time someone told me death ends a life? It does not end a relationship.
Thank you so much. And I think that's a really nice message to put out in this group. And, we process, however somebody processes grief is so individual. But the thing is, at least for me, I can stuff it and stuff it, and then it will leak out, or I can make room for it to come out and to actually go towards it. And so I'm really grateful to have this space where it's okay to have feelings, even if they're mixed. So I really appreciate that. I'm really grateful for Caroline doing this and for the board making this space happen.
Thank you so much, Cindy. And yeah, thank you for sharing about Heather's spirit of curiosity and openness and expansion. Such a powerful gift to have and bring the world as an HVN facilitator, but also as a person in this world. Thank you so much.
Hi, everybody. My name's Erin, and I'm sorry. I'm Heather's older sister, and we're lucky we had 4 girls, which is the good and the bad, right? How hard can you have it when you have 4 girls in the same house with your mom? So 5 women. But Heather and I were close to each other for a very long time. As the oldest, I was kind of her mom because of all of her troubles she had in her life. As Petra said, she did not have an easy life at all. And so one of the things I wanted to do for her is make her life easier. And I also am devastated by this because not only is Heather gone, but in many ways, Gabby's life is also, not the same life she'll ever have. I mean, she's 23 years old, and this is a horrendous way for her to have a life. And similar to you, I know Heather was this gracious, kind individual who really was so proud of the work that she did, both for Hearing Voices and with peers. And I think that she is just going to stay with us forever. One of the things that's been hardest for me is, of course, that Heather is my last sister alive, unfortunately. And so I want her to be with her family. So I'm taking her back to Hawaii, where we grew up together. And my mom was hard, of course, but also really knew where she wanted to go when she died. And so she's back near the town that we grew up in. The background is the town that this is the beach we used to be at all the time as kids growing up. And Heather loves the water and the ocean, and I think would love to be near that. And I think that's where she can be and have some peace. As Petra said, she was in a lot of pain. And we spent a lot of time talking about how to mitigate her pain, what she could do. But I'm hopeful that she's at some peace. It's been a little hard for me to think of the violence of the death. It's been very, very hard for me because Heather was fearful, similar to Petra. As you know, I was trying to help her with Gabby, and it was an impossible situation. But we had recently gone for a walk on the Friday before she died around her block, and we took pictures of where she could envision her life, because Gabby was supposed to move into a apartment that was going to have case management as part of a wraparound service for her. And you know, unfortunately, we just didn't make it in time, I guess. So I could see that she wanted a life that was not with Gabby, because she's so hard and so all-encompassing. But she had so much guilt that I think she couldn't provide much boundaries for Gabby, and that contributed to the situation, I think. But I appreciate Ed for reaching out to me and allowed me to put together some pictures of the people she loved. And so I just want to touch on that, which is she had 3 kids, which I know you saw in the pictures, and she was not the mom that they wanted her to be when she was young, but she tried once she changed her life to be that mom. And she loved them beyond words, beyond words. She loved her children more than anything else. And she loved my mom and all of our sisters. And she loved Petra. Petra was a very important part of her life. And I see Vilma there as well. And Vilma, you know, saw her through the good and the bad times as well. So I think, you know, I can't express enough my happiness that you came together. It's helps me to know that she was loved and she won't be forgotten. And I want to really thank the group. I see people from peers who've reached out to me. I think Nancy is on there, and really all of you from Hearing Voices. She was so proud of her commitment, not only on the board, but as a co-facilitator. She felt, you know, such pride in being able to give back to the community. And, you know, we have that in common. I worked at Planned Parenthood. I'm now in public health. And we share that commitment to making our world a little better. And I know that Heather would be so proud to have all of you here recognizing her and making sure that she's remembered. And so much appreciation to all of you. Thank you for everything.
Erin, we are so grateful you are here with us, you know, joining Heather's HVN family with her sisters, with her family. And we are certainly thinking of you during this time, and, you know, all of Heather's children, your niece and nephews, Shane, Caleb, and Gabby, during this time of like just grief and upheaval. And thank you so much for being here today with us.
Thank you, Erin.
I have one more just thing. I want to say, as you know, her son Caleb, who is here, the other one, her other son is in Taiwan. But he's having a rough time, and he thought he was going to be able to make it, but he just texted me and said it's just too hard for him. And so I just wanted to say he's struggling with this, and there's been a lot of press and everything. So it's just been very hard, and he's a quiet young man. It's hard. But Michelle, I want to make sure you know how important it is that you have Roxy. Heather loved Roxy. And she would have been so happy to have Roxy with someone that she knew and cared for. And I wish I could have taken Roxy. Roxy did not like my dog. I'm not sure what dog she likes. I'm glad to hear she likes Petra's dog, but definitely did not like my dad. But she would have been so happy that you have Roxy. So thank you for doing that. It gives me such a great feeling in my heart that somebody's taking care of the dog that she loved and adored. I mean, she loved that dog.
Yeah. And I just wanted to take her so she could go to family members if needed, because I know how fast that dang process is.
Right.
And so if any family member changes their mind, she's here.
Well,
but it worked out
course.
so good because I've been waiting 3 years companion dog,
aw.
and they still haven't come through. And she just came. It was the timing was good. It was like I needed that.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you so much. She really did love Roxy. Roxy was her heart and soul.
Yeah.
I'm so happy she went to someone she knew. That's awesome. I had no idea.
Yeah.
Makes me so happy. That makes my day. Makes my day. I'm so
And she actually responds like a companion dog too. I've had I have PTSD, and I have severe dreams, and she'll drop to the floor and go in her bed. She has a bed on the floor, and she can sleep in my bed. But she knows when I'm having my dreams, she jumps to the floor, and then I would wake up, in this state, and she just comes up and licks my face.
Oh, that's awesome. Good.
Yeah.
Hey, knock it off.
And did you, did you have something you wanted to share?
Yeah, yeah. Um, uh, I'm on the board with Heather, and she's been. I'm devastated, and it's strange how we all handle grief differently, and I start talking about her and I just start crying, and because she was a voice here, she had lived experience, but she was also a family member, and I know she loved her children dearly, and so we really shared that with each other, and to have this happen to her with a family member with her loved one it's just devastating, as everybody talked about, and it's strange. I'm in my grief is where it's like I can't keep it together sometimes, and I don't know where it's coming from, but all of a sudden it just appears, and so I'd known Heather for quite a while. She was one of our first board members, and her kindness just really shone through. I mean, she's just so kind and so dedicated to us and to our organization. And we would ask her to do stuff, and she would just be right there. And especially the groups that she was involved with, she was so dedicated to our groups and the people that were in the groups. And it was a big part of her life, and we were so fortunate to have her. And I want to say that one of the things, as you might know, as you probably do know, that Hearing Voices Network and our approach, and we try to humanize and the experience, the voice hearing experience, and other experiences instead of medicalize it and all that. Well, I'm not going to go into it, but it's a different approach. It's a humane, and it's and so one of the things we've talked about is that we're still this approach is still not in the mainstream. We're a little bit we're kind of outliers, and one of the things we want to do is educate the public about our approach because I think more people would benefit from it. And so Ed Shearer and I were talking about it, and we want to create the the Heather Riemer Heather Riemer Hearing Voices education program, and we're determined to do that in her name. I think she'd really be happy about that, and it would keep her presence in our hearts and in front of us, and I think that's something that she would really support and love. So I just wanted to say that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ed. And it's incredible to hear like some of that history of Heather being with you, like from the beginning of Bay Area and her dedication. And what a wonderful tribute too, because Heather's lived wisdom as both a voice here and a family member, that is just being able to walk and understand both of those stories and have your foot in each of those worlds,
Right.
is an incredible
Yeah.
gift.
She understood both of those worlds so dearly. And, having it happen to her that's what was so devastating because it impacted me as a family member and it impacted, people with lived experience. And so it was a sort of a double whammy, you might want to say. And,
Yeah, it's incredibly painful. And but thank you for sharing, Ed, like some of that, the way that you're going to keep Heather's fire for education and like spreading a different, more humane message
that's
alive.
right. She would support that, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Awesome. Vilma, would you like to share?
Yes, thank you. I'm Vilma Sokolowskaitė, and I met Petra working at Pierce. It's about Petra, Heather, sorry. And she was the person who made my my getting ready to working environment, because I came from peer specialist training and new to the field and in the kind of office environment. And she helped me to get accustomed to working in the field and in the culture. And I saw her, she was like a teacher in that sense for me, because and she was like a true embodiment of the peer spirit, and that is sometimes we lose that in the actually working in the field, and with all the things that we need to do at the office and just in the programs, and it just sometimes becomes mundane. And but it didn't seem like it was any of that, like any of that kind of bother for Heather. I feel like I'm a better person because I knew her, and I'm a better worker also in the field. She helped me a lot at my job. We worked in this program together called WRAP, Wellness Recovery Action Plan, and also co-facilitated together at Tobacco Freedom, the Tobacco Harm Reduction Program. I experienced her as a special messages facilitator. And I would always, compliment her how good of a group facilitator she was, and she would be like, "Oh, what are you talking about? Do you know how afraid I am to do that? How scary it is for me?" So it was validating and modeling for me that I can still be afraid to do things, but I can still do them and I can be good at them, even though, it just kind of how it feels and how other people perceive me, that can be very different from one another. So, and she also, I was learning from her how to be with people in general, how to be a good peer supporter to somebody else. She had that gift of being able to connect with people. So I just really loved having her in groups as a co-facilitator, because she had that, like, I don't know, human connection that was it seemed like natural for her and easy to establish with people. Just want to express my deepest condolences to the family, and all of us many people whose lives she touched. And thank you so much for having this gathering here today, for people who organize this. I'm really appreciative of that. And just want to say again that how many times, in how many ways Heather helped me, and how I'm grateful for her, and that I am a better person because of her.
Thank you so much, Vilma. Thank you for sharing more about the spirit that Heather brought to work and maintained, that human spirit that can be hard to maintain sometimes in systems. It was so beautiful to hear of that, and also of her courage, because it does take courage to live in a world with your heart open and maintaining your humanity in the face of struggle. Thank you so much for sharing more about what Heather brought to your life.
I have to go now, you guys. Love to you all, and just peace, and just keep Heather in your heart and soul, and she will live on forever and ever. She touched so many lives. Thank you, Caroline. Thank you, Ed. Thank you, Aaron. My heart is with you. Thank you for putting up with all my texting to you. And if everybody wants to listen to a song that reminds me of her, it's called Drops of Jupiter. It's by Maroon 5, and it talks about her being in the atmosphere. When my father died, he was a world famous physicist at UC Berkeley, and I had a hard time with Daddy dying. And I was crying to my stepmother, and I said, "Where is Daddy?" And she said, "Everywhere." So if you listen to Drops of Jupiter, I'll put it in the chat, by Maroon 5. It really talks about her being out there, across the sun in the Milky Way, and talking about her at the beach, talking about her best friend. And I just get chills. It came on the radio when I was crying one time as I got in the car. And I believe that spiritually people can communicate through music to you randomly. So anyway, that's the song of her. I hope we can play it at a memorial for her, because it just rings true for her. So anyway, okay, adios, you guys. Love. Bye.
Thank you, Petra. Love to you.
Bye.
So I had my video off for a few minutes. I was actually talking to Michael Reiner, who's one of our friends from the Hearing Voices Network, and he expressed his condolences. And he's doing very well. He's working and doing his art and loving life, and said that he just really loves the Hearing Voices Network and appreciated working with Heather.
Awesome. Thanks so much for passing that along, Michelle. And yeah, it's amazing to think there are so many people whose Heather's life has touched and will continue to touch with what she helped Ed build. And it sounds like her work at Peers. Thank you for giving voice to that. And we still have plenty of time if other people in the Zoom room want to share, you know, an emotion, an experience, a memory, or you know, how Heather has touched your life, whatever's coming up for you.
Maybe I'll start. I'm the other Ed on the Bay Area Hearing Voices Network board, currently the treasurer. I am family member and one of the founders of the Bay Area Hearing Voices Network in 2014. Heather really, I'm very much affected by her death. She was just a very warm, loving, open-hearted person, always ready to help out and needed another opening for a facilitator. She just was there all the time. I personally prayed for her and for her daughter, Gabriela, because I think Gabriela just did a horrible thing that's destroyed her life forever. And so I pray for them both. And as Ed mentioned, she will not be forgotten by the Bay Area Hearing Voices Network. We will, at our next board meeting, will propose the development of Heather Riemer Hearing Voices Education Center. And that includes, and we're developing an education program. That's one of our to-do things. We welcome everyone on this Zoom to be helping in developing that. And Carolyn, I thank you so much for doing this. Heather will be remembered forever. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ed. And yeah, it's great to hear more about the work that you did together as like a family member with Bay Area HVN with Heather, and how that's going to continue. Heather's influence is going to continue to help sustain Bay Area HVN and these values.
Well, I can say a little bit. My name is Valerie, and I live in Cincinnati. And at the beginning of the pandemic, began to come to this group and could not stop coming every single Monday night. Eventually then joined the board. And so about a year and a few months ago, there would be Heather. And I have to tell you, one of my main memories is her hair blowing in the breeze of the window, open window. This beautiful hair. It's one of my main memories. Also, everything she would share, her devotion was so clear. When I, have a son and lives with us, and this is, like Ed said, it's really my way of working through this is to sideline it. It's my usual way, and but one way I can really feel it, and I can offer to you, all of you, is the last. I was born Greek Orthodox, and so it's in my body. The last chant of the funeral is basically a one word repeated, and it's "May her memory be eternal." And the Greek phrase is "Eoni mnimi." And I'll just chant it a bit. I'm not a singer. Eonia imnimi. Eonia imnimi. Eonia imni.
Thank you so much, Valerie. May her memory be eternal. Thank you for those powerful words and that image of Heather with the breeze in her hair. For people who might have joined us a little bit later, the time we're holding right now is unstructured time for whatever is arising for folks. Memories of Heather, songs have been coming up for some folks. If you want to share a poem, we're going to be able to hold the space for those that need it for another 30 minutes. At that close, we'll have Ed read a poem that was a favorite of Heather's. Jim, please go ahead.
Yeah, sorry I was late. I had a hard time finding the link. Uh, oh my God, I'm 80. I can't even remember where I first met Heather. Was it at HVN or the group that she did with Cozy over in the East Bay online? And but when I really realized how much I missed her, as I didn't hear about it for a couple of weeks. I don't know how I missed hearing about it. But when I started to go to the next meeting after I heard about it, and I was looking forward to our dialogues. And then I realized they weren't going to take place. It wasn't going to happen again. And I can't tell you how special it was, because she got me. She got me every time. I can't remember when she missed. She would just say something in her soft, gentle way, and all of a sudden, the mind that was frozen because of the goddamn voices opened up, and I remembered things that I wouldn't have remembered under any other circumstances. And it was so magical. It was so unscripted. It was so authentic because that's what I need to get past the voices, a connection to my authentic self. And she could help me get there. Even after I had shared, and I wasn't sure it was all me, I was being channeling them or some other shit. When she hit me with whatever the feedback was, which was always so was oblique. I mean, it was Heather. It was just Heather's amazing quality of empathy, intuition, of spiritual connection. I don't know what it was. I never evaluated it when it was happening because I thought this is going to go on forever. And it was always something. She always helped me add to what I had shared. And it took me to a place of empowerment within myself, not coaching, but in me. Yeah. Sorely missed. I still start to go to that group and think I'm going to hear her again. It's and that's when I really realized how much. I mean, I hardly ever miss those meetings. And there were other great people there as well, but Heather was special. Yeah. So thank you very much. I really appreciate the people putting this memorial together because I sure as hell couldn't do it. And I appreciate being able to say goodbye to her this way because she's up there. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jim, and thank you for sharing some of those magical moments that you and Heather shared. And yeah, it's just so touching to hear like how in HBN space, our facilitators can create, or all of us can create this place where we can come home to our authentic selves. And thank you so much for sharing about some of those moments that you and Heather had where you could come back to that authenticity and just be.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That's the way I felt when she fed back. That's the way I felt. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
And I'll just read, we have a message from someone in the chat. I don't know if everyone saw it, but I'll just uplift the words of Nancy from Peers that wanted to share her experience. To her, Heather was a kind and humble person. Her light will continue to shine.
So I guess so I helped facilitate the Monday meet with her. And the cool thing about her was that she's willing to share any aspect of her life with everyone. And that brought about just people's willingness to open up. and to share those aspects of themselves with everyone. And that was critical because part of the healing is the sharing. And I'm gonna
Thank you, David. And David, you are on mute now. I wasn't sure if that's intentional, but it's totally okay. Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much for what you shared, David, and yeah, for that model of vulnerability that Heather brought as a co-facilitator. That is absolutely huge. And it is such a gift because it allows other people, to liberate themselves and open up. Thank you so much for what you shared.
I just wanted to try to say a couple words. Yeah, like others have said, thank you so much for putting this together so that people could, we could do what we're doing. You so I'm on the board with Hearing Voices Network in Bay Area, and that's how I met Heather some years ago. I didn't know she grew up in Hawaii. I grew up there too, so it felt like a neat thing to learn. All of a sudden, wonder if we were there at the same time somehow. I recognize that background. Yeah, yeah. I'm just listening and trying to take in just how big this loss is. I guess the more people talk, the more that becomes clear. Um, and yeah, I can echo, I guess, the my experience whenever I was around Heather, just um, yeah, her kindness and openness and vulnerability and how that feed how it feels to be around that is, yeah, she'll be missed. But yeah, just feeling a bit speechless. Sorry. Yeah, I'm grateful to have known her, and it's really not. It's to hear everyone's testimony about just the lasting impact that she had, and I believe will continue to have. And I love the idea of the Heather Riemer educational. Can't remember what the last part of that phrase was, but I think that's an excellent idea. Um, but yeah, thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Brett.
Yeah, I just want to add something to what Brett said. I just realized this is that what was so remarkably unique about Heather is that she, like Cindy, not only had lived experience and struggled with her voices and other issues, but she was a family member. So she had toes in both worlds, and that is so unique and so valuable. And so her impact was so strong because she knew both places. And that's another reason why she will be really missed. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much for that, Ed.
And it makes me think about this old union expression. I think it's a union expression. Mourn for the dead and fight like hell for the living. And it is not like it if we advocate for help that's actually helpful. I mean, the mental health system was in her daughter's life a lot, and perhaps it didn't actually give the help that person needed. And so when I think about this, it gives me anger and energy to say, oh my gosh, let's keep trying to fight for options for people, for possibilities. And if something's not working, can we develop other things that might, but at least quit trying to do the same thing that's not working, right? And to come up with other possibilities. I really have a belief that people try to do the best with what they have. And so many times people don't have the support they need, right? Like it's a problem in a context, right? It's a situation in a context, and how do we change that? Families get overwhelmed, individuals get overwhelmed with, choose this or that, and both don't seem very good. And so that was for me that the idea of an education fund makes sense. An advocacy to have more possibilities and more approaches. And so when I think about what happened, I have to think about it in this larger context of not just a child and a parent, uh, but in this social system. And what were the supports offered, and what could have been offered, or what do we want to try to advocate and create? And so that's because Heather tried real hard. Heather tried really hard with the resources. That makes me want to cry. People trying very hard with the resources they have, and the resources just aren't enough, or are the wrong kinds, or not available. And so when I look back and forward, that's what I think about, is how to better support families and individuals in that family.
Cindy, thank you. Is an expression in Spanish, la lucha sigue, and the struggle continues. But, I think you need to have an open mind and ways of looking at not just doing the things in the past, but as you say, think of new things. And I think of what my comadre, Dolores Huerta, says, si se puede, it can be done. And it will. together, all of us, we will make the change that we need. Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy. Thank you, Ed. And yeah, at times like these, like I'm really hearing the desire that there had been better supports, a better world for Heather, for Gabby. I hear, and I'm really hearing that yearning and, you know, impacted by those who are inspired to continue educating, to continue advocating as Heather did. And we still have plenty of time left. If there's other folks that want to share a memory or whatever is on your heart right now, as we grieve this loss.
Hi, I'm Kaylin. I help out with some graphic design things with the board, and also I host the Tuesday night meeting. And I think my interactions with Heather have been mostly small, but I think one thing that I'll kind of always remember is just saying hi to Heather when she enters the chat room, and she would always drop by and say bye every night. And I think we just got into that routine, and like thinking that I will never say bye or hi to Heather is very sad. Thinking that I've already said my last bye and hi to Heather. I've only sat in on one meeting that Heather facilitated, and as a voice here myself, with a very healthy amount of social anxiety and paranoia, it's like difficult for me sometimes to just like open up. Heather, I could immediately tell that it was a safe space by the way that she like interacted with everyone, and I feel very sad that I will not get to know her any better. I feel like I'm getting to know her better through your stories, and it feels like a huge loss for our org, but also just for the world. And yeah, I just feel very sorry, and I hope that we can do better.
Thanks so much, Kaylin. Thank you so much for sharing with those interactions with Heather, how they impacted you and what they meant as a fellow voice here. I'm just seeing there's something shared in the chat here, just in case there's people maybe on their phones or having trouble looking at the chat. I'll read what Brace shared. Brace says, I worked with Heather at Peers as both a coworker and then supervisor. We facilitated rap groups and tobacco cessation trainings. I was her supervisor when she facilitated special messages support groups for voice hearers. She was beautiful, fly, and funny. She was friendly, honest, and resourceful. She was a great example of a peer and created and maintained welcoming spaces for our peer community. She was a loving, compassionate woman, and I enjoyed working with her. I'm glad I'm not alone in my feelings. Such a tragic, tragic loss. My heart hurts for her, how she passed. She deserved better. My heart hurts for her family. My heart hurts for our community. I pray she is at peace. We at Peers will continue to lift up her name and the impact she had on the community. Thank you for holding the space. And thank you for those beautiful words, Bray. And we do have a few minutes left. Obviously, there's no pressure to share here. We're grateful everyone is here and using this space as they need it to grieve Heather's loss at this time. That does not have to mean speaking out loud. But I just wanted to let people know we have a few minutes and then we're going to close by reading a poem that was loved by Heather.
I'd like to hear, I can't really think much to say besides what other people have said. I think, yeah, she was very compassionate, like really experiencing hearing voices. That was really helpful to me. And, I do feel like I'm gonna remember her every birthday because we have the same birthday. And I feel a little sad just because I feel sometimes like I don't really know who I am as a person who hears voices. And I just feel like this whole like this tragedy that makes me feel confused, I guess. Yeah, and I feel kind of sad that it happened, like this happened, and yeah, I don't know. So yeah, that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you for sharing your heart with us. Anyone else that wants to share a feeling, a memory, anything that's coming up for you right now as we're grieving the loss of Heather? Well, we're going to start to begin to close this particular circle. But, you know, much like we say, like at the end of of Hearing Voices meetings. Like, our group ends now, but these conversations, they will continue. Our memories of Heather will continue. Emotions will arise, questions will arise. I'm sure there'll be moments of tears, anger, inspiration. And I hope people can feel like held by the incredible memory of someone who brought so much to the Hearing Voices Network, the wider peer world, but also the world at large. It was powerful to hear words like compassion, vulnerability, openness, curiosity, and may Heather's memory always be a blessing to us and help us come back to our authentic self, like Jim named, that authentic spirit in us that remains curious, open, loving, in spite of the world's difficulties. What we're going to do now is I'll put up a poem, and everyone will be able to see it. And Ed, you're going to read it for us. Okay, great.
Okay. I'm going to my caption is in the way of me seeing it, so I'm going to hide the caption. There we go. This is When I'm Gone by Lyman Hancock. I hope I can read this without crying. When I come to the end of my journey and I travel my last weary mile, just forget, if you can, that I ever frowned and remember only the smile. Forget unkind words I have spoken. Remember some good I have done. Forget that I ever had heartache, and remember I've had loads of fun. Forget that I stumbled and blundered, and sometimes fell by the way. Remember I have fought some hard battles, and won ere the close of the day. Then forget to grieve for my going. I would not have you sad for a day. But in summer just gather some flowers, and remember the place where I lay. And come in the shade of evening, when the sun paints the sky in the west. Stand for a few moments beside me, and remember only my best. Before we close, I just want to make sure, Caroline, I really appreciate, I just want to say thank you for what you did. I really appreciate it. And thank you for your compassion and your kind words in helping us do this. So I just wanted to say that.
It was great to be a part of it. And yeah, I loved looking at the pictures as we put the little slides together. And yeah, it was so moving to hear people's memories of Heather's life. Thank you all so much for coming out. It sounds like, there's going to be continuing work done, inspired by the work of Heather. I hope people continue to be vulnerable. That was the model. It sounds like Heather gave so many. Continue to be vulnerable as they grieve and create a life on the other side of this deep tragedy. And just super, inspired to hear how Heather's memory has rippled out and may continue to support the development of more compassionate supports for voice hearers that, as Cindy said, are actually helpful.
Right.
Thanks everyone for coming.
Yeah, thanks for your wonderful words. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Jen.
everybody.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
Thank you.
You.
Thank you, Caroline. So I guess I'll end I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank you. You did it.
yeah. I'll be continuing to think of you guys, and
Yeah, it was really
um,
moving. Really moving.
yeah, it was powerful to hear what everyone
Glad we have a
shared.
recording of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And thank you for all the times that you've listened to me every time I've had somebody pass. It was not just one time.
Yeah.
There's been so many times this past couple of years. It's just, you've been so helpful to me. Thank you.
Okay. Have a good Sunday.
yeah.
All right.
Do
Thank
well,
you.
everybody. Do
Bye.
Hey,
well.
everybody.
Bye.
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 Bye to car.